This book helps me to remember every detail about this shop.
Mugesha, guy, you know things and you don't even tell me.
You didn't ask. Huh? Try it. You'll thank me later.
Let me first deal with the customer.
But wait. Don't forget to pay the URA tax in time.
I won't. I will not.
Okay.
Uganda Revenue Authority thanks you for paying taxes. Thank you. Taxi payer.
Kapo, you seem to be in a hurry. Where are you going to?
I'm gonna pay URA visit.
Why would anyone visit URA? Of all places?
To know more about the Kakasa Business Solutions, namely digital tracking solution, the voluntary disclosure program and electronic fiscal receipting and invoicing solution, which have turned my business around. You know I need to be on top of my game to protect my empire. If you know, you know.
I too need to know what Kapo knows.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Wait, Abu, tunamaliriza. And what are you doing throwing papers all over the place?
I'm looking for an invoice for a sound system and cables that I received yesterday, but I can't find it.
You know there is a way of keeping all this in one place and available to you as and when you need it.
I really wish there was one, because the way these invoices grow legs and disappear.
I believe this is what you're looking for.
Now how did it get there?
Tabo! Do you know that with EFRIS, you can stay on track of all your business transactions and improve on your record keeping?
How so?
Kati tuli ku computer with EFRIS. I just search using the fiscal document number and I retrieve the records I'm looking for. Bookkeeping becomes simple after that.
Kapo, awesome, yeah.
I began using URA's Kakasa Solutions and now I'm in charge of my business. And you can as well.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
That's my little angel Rose. Together with millions of other children, my daughter Rose is assured of learning something new every day. Moses, my husband, just like many other commercial farmers, has his business supported so he can provide for us. When my other little one was on the way, even with my pregnancy complications, it was a quick, smooth ride to Mulago Specialized Women and Neonatal Hospital. Also, my new baby was able to make it through his first days with the help of specialized equipment thanks to the reliable electricity which has also been extended throughout the country. All this and more has been made possible because of you.
Join us and together let's do more for our country. Get your free tin at www.ura.go.ug.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Acquiring a tin is now easier than ever before with a new interface that is brief, simple, and cuts out all the excess fields from previous applications. All you need is your national ID or driver's license or passports and internet access and you're good to go. No more waiting in long queues as you can now acquire a tin instantly from wherever you are. Remember, it's free. Experience our new and improved modern interface that is user-friendly.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together. Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Our viewers, today's customs webinar, especially those on Facebook and YouTube. The theme for today's webinar is customs incentives and strategies to grow the manufacturing sector. Our national policy focuses on industrialization and manufacturing, as you all would know, and this policy aims at achieving industrialization so as to create employment, increase value addition on our local raw materials, and increase export of manufactured products, and also increase sector contribution to GDP. So the policy's aim is to double manufacturing value addition as a percentage to GDP from 8.3% in 2018 to 16% by 2029. So you can see we have a big toll as regard to improving manufacturing. Now, this discussion is going to dwell on how tax policy through duty remission facility will support the nation's industrialization and manufacturing development plan. So with me, I've got a team of panelists, two panelists, who are going to help us solve and have the link between these two variables I've just talked about. I would request them to introduce themselves, and we can move on to something else. So please, my panelists.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, our dear viewers. My name is Eli Nathan Masiko. I'm a supervisor tariffs in the Customs Department, Uganda Revenue Authority. It is a pleasure being here this morning. We hope to share a lot. Good morning.
Good morning, viewers. My name is Jude Ochieng. I'm a supervisor, tariffs in the Customs Division. I'm in the Customs Department of URA, and we are very happy to have you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Elnathan and Jude. We are very honored to have you here. And I'd forgotten to introduce myself. I'm Brian Kiza, your moderator for today's webinar. So I'll begin with Jude. Can you give us, or can you define for us what we mean by duty remission scheme?
Thank you very much. The government of Uganda, or the region, EAC, has come up with a number of incentives, and these incentives are purely to spur growth in the manufacturing sector. And one such scheme is what we call the duty remission scheme. This scheme is basically what would be duty remission. Duty remission is a reduction of import duty rates on certain products, and in this case, mostly raw materials and packaging materials used to manufacture goods for local consumption or for export. It's premised under Section 140 of our Customs Management Act. This is the law that governs importation of goods across all the 5 partner states. And it gives the power to the Council of Ministers to make decisions on which goods can be given a remission of duty. The duty remission is also operationalized by certain regulations that were prepared in 2008. These are called the duty remission regulations. And key amongst the regulations is a provision for a committee across each of the partner states, a committee that will manage this process of duty remission. This committee is comprised of members from the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Trade, Industry, the revenue body, in this case URA, and a member from the Manufacturers Association. And it's chaired by the Minister of Finance and the Secretary from URA, or to vet applications, to receive vet applications for duty remission. And these types of duty remission that the committee manages are basically two types of remission. One is what we call a regional duty remission, and another is the country-specific duty remission. What's important to note in the difference is that the regional duty remission is provided for across all the partner states. At the moment, we have 6 partner states, 5 operational, with 2 coming on board, Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. And we shall see more of these remission schemes. Now, the regional duty remission list is basically, like I mentioned, provided for across all the partner states. In the partner states, it means that when you produce goods with such materials, you can actually sell these goods or export to the other partner states, and such goods would be accorded what we call preferential treatment. By preferential treatment, I mean such goods could be exported to the partner states and not pay import duty in those partner states. Whereas the country-specific duty remissions is where a country is taking benefit at a rate lower of certain materials, at a rate lower than the other partner states. And as such, the conditions or the laws that govern it is that when such goods are exported to the partner states, then they would not be accorded preferential treatment. In other words, they cannot be exported and received in the other country without payment of duty. So now that we know what this duty remission is, how does one take benefit to it? We have a process of applying or taking benefit to the remission, and it's provided for under the duty remission regulations. Briefly, I'll just take you through what is required of you when you're applying and what is important in your application as a manufacturer for remission of duty. One is that you're expected to apply in writing. That's the only what the law provides for. You apply in writing to the Commissioner, Customs. And in that application, you will have to provide for a detailed description of the raw material you intend to benefit or to take benefit from on a remission. And I'll just give an example. Say you're producing sweets. Such a product, you will indicate in your application that you intend to import liquid glucose. That is a raw material used for production of sweets. And then you will be expected to provide the tariff classification as provided for in the East African Community Common External Tariff. For example, the classification, if say we are importing, like I mentioned, glucose or sugar, you'll be expected to give a classification like at 8 digits for the product. In this case, sugar, you'd put it at 17, says 01, 99, 10. You will also be required in your application to indicate the quantities. The quantities of the raw material. Usually in metric tons, in liters, in meters, depending on the type of item. And that quantity should be your annual projection, the quantity you intend to utilize for a period of 1 year. Then you, still in your application, you will need to indicate the finished article you intend to produce from that material. In this case, like I mentioned earlier, if you're going to produce sweets, you will indicate that the finished article is a sweet in this respect. The table indicated there is just a summary of what your application would look like. So you'd have your product, like I mentioned, the item, in this case, say sugar for industrial use, the quantity, say in this case 1,000 metric tons, the tariff classification, or what is written there as the HS code, which is this case is 17019910, and the finished product, beverages and confectionaries. So briefly, that is in application. Additionally, more information is needed at the point of application. If you've been enjoying this facility previously, you'll be expected to show evidence that you file quarterly returns to the Commissioner Customs, or operationally to the Assistant Commissioner Customs Audit. And in this information, you will need to indicate to us your input-output coefficients. And also, you will be required to show evidence of payment of taxes for any waste or unutilized quantities of the raw material you might have brought under duty remission and you did not utilize. Then you will also be required to attach certain documentation such as your certificates of incorporation, your any other tax compliance certificates that you may have, and then provide for a convenient date in your application for inspection as the committee may deem. And this is mostly true for new manufacturers, but the committee, duty remission committee, could choose to inspect any facility at any opportune time or moment. So thank you very much. That's briefly what the duty remission is, the type, and how someone can get on board.
Okay, thank you so much, Jude, for that insight. I'm now going to move to Mr. Masiko to give us more insight in regard to what raw materials and inputs are available for duty remission.
Thank you very much, moderator, and good morning once again. Indeed, there are a number of items where the government of Uganda has accorded manufacturers the privilege for importing at a remitted rate. For example, we are a net assembler of mobile phones, and there is a remission of duty to 0% for inputs for use in the manufacture or assembly of phones. Then we have mechanically deboned meat for those who are engaged in the manufacture of sausages. Then we have grease-proof paper for those who are in the business of manufacturing cheese. This material helps in the wrapping of cheese. Then we have craft paper and paperboard used in the manufacture of corrugated boxes. So for corrugated box manufacturers, they enjoy unbleached craft liner. Then we also have aluminium wire not alloyed with a maximum cross-section dimension which exceeds 7 centimeters. That one is used by manufacturers of cables. And we also have other plates, sheets, film, foil, strip, which are unprinted. As you know, Uganda has a very vibrant printing industry, and these are PP paper that is indeed used in printing and making of bags and the like for wrapping or packaging products. We also have unassembled flat irons for those who want to transfer skills. As you notice, we have many youth, so we need to demystify the flat iron, these electrical items, and these include flat irons, speakers, light emitting diode, and compact fluorescent light bulbs. So these ones are coming disintegrated, and our youth from Chambogo, our youth from these technical colleges do put them together for purposes of ensuring that they understand the workings, and that is usually the first step. Then the second step would be now to start manufacturing these components locally. So from assembly, we have the LED bulbs, the DVD players, we have unassembled blenders, unassembled kettles, then also have unassembled cookers. Then we have also manufacturers of chains. Those who are in manufacture of chains, say for motorcycles or for machinery, then the parts used to put those chains together have also been catered for. Then we have reinforced glass, which is resistant to any form of breakage. So they are reinforced, and these are also catered for under other non-wired glass, plates and materials. Then as you notice, Uganda is also manufacturing local salt. So raw salt comes in at a reduced rate of 10%. Then there are those who also finish spoons. We've been net importers of spoons, but now we have local manufacturers of spoons who put value addition to steel blanks for spoons and forks. Then furniture, as you notice, His Excellency the President has been promoting furniture in most of these centers. So the inputs used for the manufacture of furniture have also been remitted to 10% and to 0%. Then we have also umbrella heads for roofing nails. The roofing nails, which commonly known in the local name as katiko, are the ones that now are also locally manufactured here. Then the umbrella head is the one that we import in at a reduced rate of 10%. We also have high tensile galvanized wire, aerosol cans for packaging beverages. The soft drinks, and those are usually pressurized cans. Then we have our mothers who manufacture liquid soap. They take advantage of the organic surface active agents, the anionic, cationic. These ones make liquid soap. So if you see people with jerry cans, this is one of the benefits that we are looking at in this regard. Then we have other paints and varnishes used now for those who are in the aluminium sector, trying to do color coating. Then 76012 is also aluminium plates, sheets and strip. Remission is due to 10% for those who are in the business of coating aluminium rods. Then for 3302, we have odoriferous substances. So these substances are of a kind used as raw materials for the food and drink industry. These particular ones are flavors that they put in products like juices or the potable alcohol. Then packaging materials for processed coffee. There's a remission of duty to 0%, which is also very critical in enabling our coffee to go the extra mile of value addition so that we don't export raw beans. Then also have raw materials and equipment that shall be used in manufacturing of textiles and footwear. We have a very comprehensive list. The government of Uganda is interested in manufacturing shoes, manufacturing textiles, and as you know, these are one of the core areas where government employs most of the youth. So these are listed in the legal notices that you will be able to have a look at. Then we have also inputs and raw materials in the manufacture of energy saving stoves. So energy saving stoves do save a lot of wood charcoal. So these are economical in a way. Then we have also motorcycle kits for the assembly of motorcycles. So we bring in the motorcycles in complete knockdown condition, put them together to ensure that we also transfer skills to the youth who are actually putting these motorcycles together. Then next, we have a number of other incentives, some of which are local and others which are regional. We also have raw materials for the manufacture of juices. As you know, we have not built enough capacity to produce apple juice. Active yeasts are for those who are engaged in manufacture of confectionaries, bread, etc. Petroleum jelly is also a basic raw material for the manufacture of the lotions that we use by our local companies like Samona. We also have Movit in this category and others who are in the industry who are joining this. Then we have polyethylene resins. These ones are used in the manufacture of paints. So as you are aware, we have a number of paint companies. Then we have unbleached kraft liner in rolled steel for the manufacture of packaging material like corrugated boxes and non-corrugated boxes. So goes for the unbleached staff kraft paper, which is in rolls. There's a remission of duty to 0% as well. Then we have also paperboard and paperboard of 480431. It's also used in corrugated box manufacturing and also bags, paper bags. Then under 481159, those are paper which is incorporated or impregnated or covered with plastics, and that is what we commonly call Tetra Pak. That one is very important material for using the manufacture of packaging material for juices. Then we also, in addition to have, as my colleague mentioned earlier, remissions which are regional remissions, and one of them is exercise book manufacturing paper. That one is in for all the partner states. And what we mean by regional is that when you export to another partner state, then you are not targeted for purposes of charging you duty. Those which are country specific, then the countries are free to charge you import duty, and that is something that we look at very closely. Then we also have raw materials which include sugar for industrial use at 10%. All partner states are enjoying that sugar at 10%, and therefore when you manufacture product and export it to Rwanda, to Kenya or Tanzania, you will not be charged import duty. Then we have inputs for the manufacture of matchboxes. Yes, government wants us to manufacture our own matchboxes. So these raw materials for the manufacture of matchboxes are 0% import duty. We also have inputs for the manufacture of deep cycle batteries, the ones that we use for solar, those that discharge energy in small quantities over a long period of time. Those are deep cycle batteries, which are opposed to automatic batteries. Then we also have inputs for the manufacture of dry cell batteries, these small batteries which we use in our torches. Those are also regional for regional remission, and every country partner state can actually enjoy it. Then we have raw materials for the manufacture of sanitary towels, diapers for our children. Indeed, factories can enjoy this zero duty without any being targeted by another partner states. We have also trades for cold retreating. These are also regional, where we give more life to some of these tires for the trucks, extended life, and you'll be able to have these. Then we also have goods for using the manufacture of goods for export. Those ones are also very critical in a way that they help in allowing our exports to go out cheaply. Then we have looped fabrics made for the manufacture of gum boots. We have a remission from 25 to 10. Then we have other bars and rods for manufacture of vehicle parts, such as springs, bolts and nuts. We are very glad that actually Uganda has started making our own U-bolts, our own leaf springs, and we have a very factory in Masaka, which is doing a very good job and supplying Uganda with those very important components. We also have materials for the manufacture of air filters. That same company in Masaka is also making air filters. So Uganda is a net producer of air filters, which we are very, very happy with. Then those who want to manufacture solar equipment, the solar panels, the charge controllers, the deep cycle batteries, those which are in the entire value chain for solar generation will enjoy also inputs at 0%. Then we have also a 0% remission for inputs for the manufacture of supplements, food supplements. This is mainly to ensure that we have our own production of supplements in the fight against HIV AIDS that has scourged this. Then we have also imports of scrap batteries used to manufacture lead. All those inputs used or imported, these used batteries are also at 0%. Then we have also inputs for the manufacture of agricultural equipment. Those who want to manufacture agricultural equipment, including knapsack sprayers, including hose, those inputs will be brought in tax-free. Then we also have inputs for the assembly of ships. Ships, indeed, as you notice, Lake Victoria has about 10% capacity that we're actually using. There is a lot of money that we can generate when we now use these ships to crisscross our regional territories, and they're generating a lot of revenue. So inputs for the assembly of ships are also catered for. Also inputs for the assembly of items for the disabled, like wheelchairs. Those ones are also catered for. Then we have also glucose syrup for those who want to manufacture sweets. It's also a regional remission that is also very important in the aspect of manufacturing. Then we have nylons for the manufacture of fishing nets. Uganda is also a producer of our own fishing nets. And this enables us to do quality control and ensure that the right nets are used during the fishing exercises. Then we also have raw materials for the manufacture of cans. These dairy cans are also very, very critical for our sector, and therefore those who are engaged in their manufacture can also enjoy 0% import duty on these cans. So for now, I would present that, moderator. Over to you. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Elnathan, for that input. We really appreciate. We're now going to move on to Jude. Jude, can you please tell us what requirements a beneficiary would need for gazettement in this case?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, moderator. When you express interest to take benefit from duty remission, there are certain requirements that were needed out of you. One of it is a requirement for gazettement, that the regulations and the law section 140 provides that if you take duty remission of any form, you need to inform other partner states of that remission. And as such, the committee has come up with a process for gazettement. That process is that, like I mentioned earlier, after you apply for remission, the committee shall vet your application, and when satisfied with your application, they'll forward it to the commissioner, which commissioner will forward it to the Council of Ministers for gazettement. It's only at that point, when you've been published in the ESC Legal Gazette notices, that then you start to take benefit from the remission that you've requested for. And this is critical to note because production does not stop. And that's the reason why every year between May and June, we issue out a document called an expression of interest for you to apply early, well in time, and have you gazetted before the first day of July, such that you can start taking benefit of this, this provision. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Would you as well tell us more about the obligations of the beneficiary?
Okay, thank you. There are certain more requirements out of you when you're a beneficiary of duty remission. I'm just going to highlight a few of such requirements. One is that for any unutilized quantities of raw material you enjoyed remission on, you're expected to pay duty on any portion of material that was brought to produce goods under duty remission and which you have not utilized. So you're obliged to inform the commissioner and pay duty for that quantity of raw material, that extra amount. Then there's a requirement to file returns. This is really lacking. So far, it's been noted that very many manufacturers do not file quarterly returns. This is a very simple requirement. It is to check and ensure that it's the only way we can know if you're exceeding your quantities or you intend to exceed, such that then a new remission can be granted to you. So it's important that we file returns 4 times a year to the Commissioner Customs on the materials for which we enjoy remission on. And then you're supposed to ensure not to exceed quantities for which you've been gazetted. And this ties with the requirement for filing returns, that if you don't file returns, you would never really know that you're starting to exceed the quantities for which remission has been granted. The proper procedure is that when you see that the quantities granted are not sufficient, you inform the commissioner well in time, such that those quantities can be reviewed. We are cognizant of the fact that business is not static. You might have expected to use 1,000 tons of sugar, and at some point you get an order from, say, DRC or South Sudan that pushes up your production. You should quickly adjust yourself to this effect and ask for an additional quantity, but do not exceed the quantity, and because it brings a challenge regarding publishing you in the Gazette. Yeah, briefly, that is on the obligation on the part of the manufacturers.
Okay, thank you so much, Jude. We shall now move to Mr. Masiko. Please talk about the withdrawal from the duty remission scheme.
Thank you very much, Operator. Yes, indeed, for various reasons, as we mentioned earlier, that there is country-specific remission and also those which are regional. You may find that you get a big order in Rwanda, but you are on a country-specific remission. So you may choose now to withdraw from this duty remission scheme so that your goods should not be targeted for import duty. So one step is that you notify the Commissioner of Customs in writing that you need remission. Then the company undergoes audit to ensure that all the raw materials that you applied for have been utilized and no account of the balance exists. So in other words, you have nothing in the line. Then the payment of taxes on the raw materials will be done on the subsequent consignments. So all these that we've been reading to you have now to pay taxes so that you can now enjoy the other. If it is actually country specific, then the communication is now given to the Secretariat, the East Secretariat, which now does the publication to indicate that you have actually withdrawn from this facility. So that is a very critical component that once the Secretariat gets this communication, then we are in a position to notify the other partner states that indeed you are no longer on the duty remission scheme. But in addition to that, there are other areas that government indeed is giving incentives, such as raw materials for the manufacture of mosquito nets. That one is also 0% import duty. We also have packaging materials for medicaments. So if we are manufacturing medicaments in Uganda, all the packaging material is tax-free, and therefore you can enjoy. Then there are those who make diagnostic kits for diagnosis of any ailments. We want to promote our own locally manufactured diagnostic kits, and therefore those ones are also at 0% import duty. Then we also have toothbrush materials. Those toothbrush materials are indeed used to put up toothbrushes, and there has been a rate of 60% put on toothbrushes so that we can manufacture our local toothbrushes. And that effort is actually paying off very well, that we have employed more people in the sector, and that one has been handled very well. Mattresses is also another very critical component of our economy, that mattress covers are now at 0 and 10%. This is majorly to allow the mattress cover manufacturers to enjoy this remission so that they can produce at cost these very important items. Then we have wheat grain. As you notice, there is a food crisis. Uganda is still food insufficient. The rate has also been reviewed from 35 to 10 to ensure that we have enough food, as now the feeding patterns seem to have changed more from the traditional foods such as sweet potatoes, Irish potatoes, to now commando, which is chapati mixed with eggs. So there is need now to address that, and there is a remission of duty to 10% from 35 on wheat grain. Then also import duty is also applicable at the rate of 10% for barley. You know, we grow barley in the hills of Kapchorwa, and those are very, very critical areas. Then we also mentioned an issue of duplex boards. You know, those who are manufacturing exercise books, the covers. Usually that duplex board material is also very, very critical for this as an input. Then also groats and meal for wheat. There's a remission to 0% for those who manufacture those cornflakes. I'm sure most of you enjoy those cornflakes, and that is one area that also government has targeted. Then we also have stranded wire. We mentioned stranded wire, but in the two categories, the rate has been adjusted for those who want to manufacture the chain links, those who want to manufacture cables, the interior component, for those is actually catered for, so that those who are manufacturing cables, the cost of manufacturing the cable goes low. Then diapers. This is one of the most heavily consumed products in Uganda, and those diapers, the inputs have also been made 0% to make sure that we manufacture our local diapers. So, moderator, I think that is what I can present for now. We can continue from there.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nathan, for that insight. We're now going to move to Jude, and he will give us more information in regards to revocation of the digital emission scheme.
Okay. Thank you very much, moderator. Like we mentioned, duty remission is one of the incentive schemes that government has for manufacturers. However, the law empowers the council to revoke this facility, and at any time, duty remission can be revoked by the Council of Ministers of the EAC, and then a client is notified. However, duty remission is not the only incentive scheme that we have. Someone will argue that you've told us about raw materials. We have another incentive scheme that is available to manufacturers, and that scheme is called VAT deferment. I'm briefly going to talk about VAT deferment because it provides you the means to bring in machinery that you use to produce goods and plant that you use to house where you produce the goods, ideally. And this facility has been in existence for a very long time, VAT deferment. It is premised on a few conditions. One is that you're producing a taxable supply. And the taxable supply in this respect is a product or a service that attracts VAT. That you can benefit from VAT deferment if you produce a good or a service that attracts VAT. Two, that goes without saying, you're registered for VAT in the first instance. That to take benefit of this facility, you should be registered for VAT. Three, that the VAT element you're requesting to defer should not exceed or should not be less than $4,000. So the VAT element that deferment can be granted to exceeds $4,000 on the machinery or plant that you're importing. Now, this facility is available to all manufacturers because ideally, if you're in manufacturing, the expectation is one, you're registered for VAT. The $4,000 requirement is very low for machinery because this is machinery that is at least exceeds $22,500. And three, you're going to produce a taxable good. So this particular incentive is designed to reduce your costs of investment, and the government hopes to take benefit when you start producing through you increasing the element of VAT that is being collected on the finished articles. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jude, for that contribution in regard to VAT deferment. I will invite Mr. Masiko to talk about any other tax incentives outside digital emission that manufacturers can benefit from.
Thank you very much, moderator. And indeed, as you notice, the government's strategic direction in the National Development Plan is geared to import substitution, that we ensure that whatever we are consuming, we are able to produce it. And to hasten this process, to ensure that this comes to fruition, the government has put other incentives, more specifically in the transport sector, that those who would like to import aircraft, for example, to transport goods from outside for export or bring in raw materials, they are tax-free. Then we have also the unloading or loading equipment that you see at the airports. Those are also tax-free to make sure that that sector becomes vibrant. The apron buses that transport passengers from the aircraft to the terminal building, these also have been exempted from taxes to make sure that the That area is very vibrant. Then, as you notice, we are now in the regional economic community of East Africa, where we have transport. And as you notice, most of trucks are registered as Kenyan registered trucks. But for purposes of ensuring that we also become very competitive, vehicles, commercial vehicles which are above 20 tons gross vehicle weight, this includes what we call maguru kumi or maguru kumi inabidi, 12 tire trucks. Those have also been made 0% to make sure that we also have a number of them moving across. Then we have also those which are below 20 tons but above 5 tons. And those are usually what we call the fuso fighter. Fuso fighter has been reduced from 25 to 10% to also make sure that the food that is coming in from a country or the raw materials or the distributorship component within the country is also catered for. Then we have also had a reduction on road tractors for semi-trailers, the tractor heads, which in this respect are for pulling goods from Mombasa to Uganda, and the rate has been reduced from 10 to 0%. Then we have tippers for carrying stones. Those are the 5 ton to 20 ton, are also in the category of those that have been reduced from 25 to 10%. Then those who would want to bring in ships to carry goods across the water, finished ships or disassembled ships which they want to put together, shall also be exempted from all taxes when you actually get into that area. Then we have those battery-operated vehicles which you see in some of these hotels, golf courses or factories or hospitals. They have also been made 0% to make sure that we have that sector also employing more of our people. Then we have also had motor vehicles for the transport of garbage trucks, those which do haulage of garbage across the streets, and that is a very critical component that we see. In addition to that, we have items. You know, Uganda has entered the oil and gas sector as a producer, so the inputs for use in the oil and gas sector, this equipment, the geothermal exploration, except vehicles have all been exempted from taxes for those who are licensed. In the education, there's items which you call those items which are catered for under the Florence Agreement. Those are also catered for in this respect to ensure that the education sector also becomes vibrant. We also have motor vehicle rally drivers. These are entertainment, they attract tourists, they attract spectators, they're a social event, and they have also been exempted for those who are in the business of rally driving. You can bring in the tax-free rally vehicle for purposes of racing. Then we have also motorcycle racing or rally motorcycles, Tour de France, replica or bicycles also for racing or rally. Those who are engaged in that industry can, you know, government has given a push to make sure that we have these catered for. Then still in the education sector, we have mathematical sets. VAT has also been removed. Woodworking, like I mentioned earlier, His Excellency the President is promoting woodworking to ensure that we have many youth engaged in carpentry. So all woodworking machines have been exempted. His Excellency has also been supporting welding machinery, people who do welding in our trading centers. These welding machinery are exempted from VAT. We've also had sewing machines as we promote more of the textile sector. Even the sewing machines, which are already 0%, VAT has also been exempted. So you can bring in sewing machines at a very competitive price. Then still in the sector for education and skilling, we've had also exemptions on textbooks. All textbooks are also imported into this country tax-free. That includes the holy books, which includes the Bible and the Quran. Those are also exempted from VAT. So that said, moderator, I would like to give you back the baton. We can proceed from there.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Masiko. At least you've been able to broaden the perspective. But I'd want to seek for more insight, especially in these sectors, from any of you. More tax incentives in the sector of coffee, pharmaceuticals, and I think, oil seeds. Do you have any incentives that we can talk about in that regard. Pharmaceutical sector.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
In the pharmaceutical sector, like we mentioned, all inputs for using the manufacture of medicaments are exempted from all taxes. The packaging material, the raw materials, which include perhaps sugar for coating, the capsules, the gelatin, which is used in the manufacture of capsules, all those that are brought in for purposes of manufacturing medicaments are exempted. Still in the health sector, the number of items that have been exempted, like I mentioned, the mosquito nets, the equipment for checking blood pressure, the equipment for scanning, all those have had their exemptions. There are also ambulances. VAT on ambulances is also exempted, and that is meant to promote the transport of patients from one point to another. We also have items such as syringes, the gauze, the medical kits in general have also had the VAT exempted for purposes of ensuring that we have the sector flourish at a reasonable rate.
Additionally, regarding the sector, the oil seeds. In the oil seeds, government has found out that, or has purpose to turn Uganda into a net producer of its own oil. As such, there are certain sectors or certain oil segments that are being protected by government. One of those is sunflower. You notice that in Uganda, in northern parts of Uganda, they grow a lot of sunflower seed. So all imported sunflower oil is imported at a rate of 60%, which is considerably high. And the intention is to spur local production of sunflower seed and protect the local manufacturers of such seeds. The same is cotton seed. Previously, Uganda was exporting a lot of the cotton seed after spinning and getting out the cotton. But right now you notice that there's a lot of cotton seed oil produced locally, and the reason is because we have protected the sector and increased the import duty rates on the imported cotton seed oil. Also, additionally, to encourage growth of the usage of palm oil, government has allocated a number of growing areas, has incentivized the agriculture of growing palm trees, and also increased the import duty rates on the imported processed crude palm oil. That is the bulk of what is used to produce cooking oil. This way, government intends to, one, encourage companies such as Mukwano that are producing locally and are using such raw materials, and companies such as Bidco that are producing palm trees in Kalangala, amongst others. Moderator, briefly, that's what I'd say about the areas.
Medical area, as perhaps you raised the questions. So, moderator, thank you so much for that. The government is very, very committed, especially when it comes to the health sector. The number of items they have exempted, which include the shadowless lamps for using operating theaters. Those ones, when they're imported by hospitals, they're also exempted from taxes. Blood freezers for storage of blood. As you know, once in a while, you may need blood. These are also exempted from taxes. And also to improve the quality of our hospitals, the utensils used in hospitals, such as the kitchen equipment, the laundry equipment, have also been given tax exemption. The mattresses used in hospitals are also exempted. Bedside screens, these ones which shelter you from, the other side, not to be seen by the other people on the other side, are also exempted. Air conditioners, because we're also trying to have state-of-the-art hospitals. Air conditioning machines for hospitals are also exempted. Water heating equipment is also exempted from taxes. The trolleys and stretchers that we have in these hospitals are also exempted. Furniture, to have a clean environment, furniture is also exempted from taxes. Then I'd also mentioned something about the packaging material. Then gloves, examination gloves for use by the nurses as they're examining the patients are also exempted. We also have medical autoclaves. These are for use in the laboratory. They're also exempted from taxes. I mentioned X-ray machines. Then chemical analyzers for blood analysis. They've also been exempted from all taxes for purposes of laboratory. Then ophthalmic equipment for the eyes are also exempted. Dental equipment for drilling the teeth are also exempted from taxes. Then ultrasound machinery for our pregnant mothers to check on the health of the baby are also exempted. Then we have cardiographic machines. Cardiographic machines, these also help you in the heart, detecting the heart. I also mentioned about trolleys, the wheelchairs used by the disabled, the clutches also used by the disabled also. Then artificial teeth, because as we grow old, the teeth gives way, and the artificial body parts, you have lost a limb, those are also brought in tax-free to ensure that there is a progression in that area. The hearing aids, if you have a challenge with the hearing challenge, these ones help you in ensuring that the medicated cotton wool, the bandages, all those are exempted from taxes. We've also had refrigerated equipment for use in hospitals or mortuaries or funeral homes. They're also exempted from taxes to take care of that particular component of. Then motorboat ambulances. For these hard-to-reach areas, if you bring in an ambulance for use on the water, a motorboat ambulance is exempted. And that's in addition to the vehicle ambulance that we've seen earlier. Then mama kit for our mothers. That one also government has removed taxes to ensure that the mama kit is available to all our mothers. Then braille machines used by the disabled or the blind. This is to help, including the braille paper. Then we have also companies that manufacture medicines. There is what we call the HVAC system that helps in the ventilation of the environment. Those are also tax exempt. And that's what I could present for now, moderator.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Masiko. We appreciate. Previously, before you came on, Jude talked about protecting the oil sector. I think that was good for our members, for our viewers to notice. And that is aimed at encouraging you to go into palm oil production locally and domestically. At this point, I would request our backstage team to share with us questions that are coming on online that we can be able to answer in these last few minutes that we have left. As our backstage team comes up with a few questions, do we have anything else we can throw more light on?
Maybe just speak about certain areas that government has earmarked to protect. Additionally to consumable goods like oil, we have items such as soaps. Soaps, government is protecting this sector and has increased the duty on its product areas such as cosmetics, areas such as honey. These are easy to produce products that government increase the duty rates intentionally to encourage local production. Biscuits, mostly the goods you see on your consumer shelves when you go to a supermarket, these type of goods are protected because we believe that the region, EAC, as well as Uganda, has sufficient capacity to produce these items locally, and as such, has protected using a tool which we call a stay of application, which increases the rates on the import duty rates and encourages local consumption of locally produced items. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, in addition to that, as you notice, things have gone up. The price of most of the commodities, including cement. So, but still government has not done nothing about it. In the construction sector, the items that are used in constructions, like the specialized vehicles, if you have the concrete mixers, for example, the concrete mixers are free of import duty. They can be deferred for VAT, so that one will help on reducing on the cost. Then we have earth-moving machinery like the bulldozers, excavators, angle dozers, the backhoes, backhoe tractors. All those have had exemptions muted against them, and we have what we call the VAT deferment scheme. Then we have these cranes, the tall ones that you see on top of buildings for picking materials and helping in harnessing the construction. They are also free of duty, and they can also be deferred for VAT. Then we have had scaffolding. Scaffolding is locally available in the region. When obtained from the Republic of Kenya, for example, you can have them in Tanzania at zero import duty. And therefore, the government is trying to support using the regional economic community arrangement for you to enjoy this particular provision. We have goods carrying vehicles, the tippers, the 10 tire, the 12 tire, for haulage of goods, carrying materials. Those are also at 0% if it's above 20 tons, like mentioned earlier. We have also surveying equipment, the global positioning system, the theodolites, the line of sight equipment for these architects to map out. Then also, as we go on the construction, the materials used in the construction of hydropower plants, the penstock pipes, the steel that is used in the hydropower is all exempted from VAT, and import duty has also been reduced to ensure that that sector thrives. So that's what I can mention, Mr. Moderator. For now, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jude and Elnathan. We actually have come to the close of this presentation. We only have 1 minute to go. Unless anything, but I would want to thank our viewers for tuning in. You've been actually, the panelists have talked about how we can engage ourselves in duty remission facilities. We can take advantage of. They've mentioned the number of items that you can get in as far as manufacturing is concerned, and be able to make our sector more competitive, and also create employment. At the same time, take advantage of the reduction in cost of production through this scheme. So for that, at that point, okay, I've been told we have some questions from the online team. Thank you so much. Okay, we have questions here. I'm going to go through them and have my panelists answer them. Okay, thank you, George. Motor vehicles above 20 tons are exempted. Okay, no, that was an answer, I think. Okay, there's a question here. What is the schedule of time frame to get new gazettes, as sometimes it is taking too long for any revised gazettement? Okay, that's one of our questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, for the gazette cycle, we usually have quarterly submissions. But again, I wish to take this opportunity to appeal to all of us that let's really target being on the first gazette, especially for those traditional factories or manufacturers that have been around and enjoying this facility. Come 1st July, at least your application should be in, but we encourage you to submit way before the 1st of June. So once we get in your application, then you'll be on the first gazette and you don't have to really wait for the other quarters. Otherwise, ideally, it's a quarterly arrangement where we have these submissions done every quarter for purposes of ensuring that we have them gazetted. Because if they are not gazetted, then it becomes a challenge for us to grant remission. Remission is granted on approval by council, and council authorizes the gazettement, and once it's not done, then it is a bit of a challenge. So every quarter, that's the time frame that we have. I submit.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Masiko. There's another question from George regarding VAT deferment to machinery. I noticed that the minimum value of machinery considered is USD 22,500. Could this threshold be lowered to support the recovery of SMEs, especially after disruption by COVID? I think Jude.
Okay, thank you very much. Indeed, it's true that there's a threshold to deferment. The threshold actually is a VAT that the VAT should exceed $4,000, and that translates, like you rightly put, to about $22,000 for the price of the machinery. We take note of the fact that the threshold seems to be high. However, there is a number of other machineries that are already catered for in the VAT Act. You notice that the small machines you use, like woodworking machinery, like tailoring machineries, welding machinery that is used as hand tools largely by SMEs, is already exempted in the VAT Act. So the provision for deferment covers usually the heavier industrial machinery. The small machines are already catered for in the VAT Act and would be exempted. But the threshold is a living document. It's a document we take note of, and if there is need to adjust, we can have this looked into as a proposal and adjusted downwards to cater for everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Jude. In the interest of time, we shall, I think, answer one more question and then probably have a parting shot from the panelists and then close the program. One more question. This is still from George. Thank you for considering exemption for new trucks for VAT. Is there a limit of years, e.g. 0 to 5 years, or it is a limit to brand new trucks only?
Okay, thank you very much. For trucks, we have those of a gross vehicle weight exceeding 4.5 tons. Yes, those indeed are not bound by the time limit, and it is those below 4 tons that will be subject to the 15-year treatment for purposes of whether they are allowed in or not. So those indeed above that are still allowed, but there is just a surcharge of 20% as the environmental levy that will be levied against those which are at least 9 years and above. So in that regard, indeed, it is one tenet that we look at. So once again, as requested by the moderator as a parting shot, yes, let's indeed embrace these incentives, ladies and gentlemen. The government of Uganda, through the National Development Plan 3, is trying to do what we call import substitution and promote exports. So this is a very important virtue that we all need to embrace. We have these facilities available, but they remain redundant, seated on the books. No one is coming forth to claim them. And it has to be claimed through the expression of interest. So URA has started receiving these requests, expression of interests. Please submit your requests for raw materials, submit your requests for the new financial year in those areas that you've been enjoying for 1 year, and we'll be able to consider that. Come 1st July, the first Gazette will have your name, and you don't have to wait for the other quarters. I submit, and thank you so much for listening in, our viewers, and watching this program on Facebook and YouTube. We are very, very grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, Jude, have a parting shot.
Okay, thank you very much, first of all, for listening to us. Like my colleague has mentioned, government has offered a lot, has incentivized, and it's upon us to take benefit of these incentives that government has offered. In the process of taking benefit of them, you give government a position to review or improve them. We have incentives that have been there for a bit of time for the region, and there are no people taking benefit of them. We are always available at our offices to give you advice or to make you aware of these incentives. And please feel free to contact us at any time to give you this information such that we can all develop our country together.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Jude. Thank you very much, viewers, for tuning in. At this point, I would want us to close our presentation till another time. Thank you so much. Bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Acquiring a tin is now easier than ever before with a new interface that is brief, simple, and cuts out all the excess fields from previous applications. All you need is your national ID or driver's license or passports and internet access, and you're good to go. No more waiting in long queues, as you can now acquire a tin instantly from wherever you are. Remember, it's free. Experience our new and improved modern interface that is user-friendly.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together. Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.